These fish all have one thing in common. I've found them using landmarks. This tutorial will help you to use landmarks to make your spearfishing more effective, especially when you're swimming out from the rocks. This video is inspired by Corbin Hart, who reached out to get a few tips to help him in the WA Nationals.
Good anyway. Alright, so this is going to be my diagram style of how you find marks. So this drawing, this is the surface of the ocean, so you're going to be swimming out to sea. This is the beach. This is like a surf club. These are some low hills on the foreshore. Here's a road, surf club, a couple of houses and a water tank. So these are the basic principles of marks, right? So to say you jump in at the surf club, as you swim out to sea, the background, not the fore, this is the foreground, the background will start to come up. So this is like when you go in out. So as you're swimming straight out to sea, start to see something come up. So like here's a radio tower, mobile phone tower on a hill. As you come up more, the further out to sea you go, the more this background comes up. So then that's if you're going in a straight line. So I'm going to move the marks. Obviously the marks don't move. Land stays the same. You're the one that moves. But this is how it looks to you in the water. So as you go north, so this is north, this is south, this is heading east. When you're coming back into the shore, you're going west. So as you go north, to move your top mark, you go in the same direction you want the top mark to go. Okay? So as you start swimming north, this is what it appears to you. So we started off, it was near, the tower was near the surf club. As you go further north, the tower is moving along. And now the tower's nearly over the road. And keep swimming north, swimming north, swimming north. And now you've got the tower over the water, the radio tower over the water tower. So you think, oh, hang on, my mark is in a bit closer, so we'll swim back in a bit closer. So the closer back in you swim, you're dropping the background in front of the foreground, and you're putting that marker. So you can just see some trees here, but they're starting to disappear. So you might have, if you were lucky, you'll have a mark just like that. Perfect. Tower over a thing. So one of the things I've shown you is like here we've got trees and here we've got artificial structures. The artificial structures are way easier to take marks off because they're sharper. They don't change over time much. So the radio tower is always going to be here. The water tower is always going to be here. These houses are probably always going to be here, but sometimes I have been caught out when someone's pulled down a house and I'm looking for my marks and go, where is it? It's gone. The surf club's going to stay here. Okay. So that's how you would, so to get, let's say we've got one mark here, right, so we're taking our mark, okay, we're on a nice bit of reef and like, oh, how good is that? It lines up right in the middle of the water tower. Or maybe it lines up on that side of the water tower, okay? Now the further back your background is, the further back this is from this, the slower these marks are going to change, okay? Now if they're really, really close together, the same as if you're looking at that bench and that clock lined up. If you walk to that side of the room, it's going to be completely over the other side, isn't it? Because that's really, really close to you. And those two marks are very, very close to each other. So the further back these are, the slower they're going to move. All right. So there's sharp marks. So what you should be looking for, if you possibly can, artificial structures, so you can get sharp marks. The go is when you're swimming out, you're looking at reefs and you're looking at places, you keep looking back and see how these marks are moving around. Because what you want to do is find something that's moving at a relatively steady pace that you can take later on as a mark. If you get to the spot already and you try to take the mark, you're going, oh, which bit? What's the bit that's going to really help me? You know, then you might have to swim backwards and forwards off the mark to try and line it up. And you can do that to refine your marks. That's a good way of doing it. But I like to keep looking back. I'm looking at particular structures that stand out. So if you've got a nice white building on a very green hill or dark coloured hill, much easier to see. Things like towers that come right out and are highlighted against the sky. You know, water tower that's highlighted against the sky, heaps easier to see. Now this is a different kind of mark. So here's a giant tree in the middle of this gully. So you're swimming out to sea again. So we'll swim out to sea. We're back here. We're back here, and then your background starts to come out as you're swimming out to sea. And you see this big tree, and here's a water tower, and you swim over, and the tree is like pretty close to the water tower, and you find your good bit of reef. There's a superb cave. Right. So yes, that mark is going to line up. This is what I call a fuzzy mark, okay? Because trees change over time.
Yeah.
They get bigger, they get hit by lightning, they get chopped down, things happen with them. And they're not straight lines where you can line a straight line up with a straight line. So it's what I call a fuzzy mark. So it's a good indicator, but it's not, you know, super sharp.
Yeah.
All right. So at the moment, we've looked at how you would just take one mark.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the best marks that you can get is if you have two marks. So this is your out to sea. But let's say way down here, so you've still got those marks there, but way down here, there's a big headland. It's like 6 miles away, and you've got similar sorts of things. Okay. You might have this big row of hills. You might not have these houses at all. You might just have these hills because it's quite far away. You can't see the houses because it's like 6-7 miles away, but you'll have saddles and things in the hills. So what you can look at is line up particular things. Say there's your headland that's close and it's got a bombing sticking out, and as you swim out, the bombing moves the same way. In, out, the back mark, you move by swimming that way.
Yeah.
The close in mark is the reverse. So if you want to move the close in mark this way, you swim the opposite way.
Okay.
If you want to move the back mark out, you swim the direction of the back mark out. So that's always the same principle. So to move, so if you wanted to move, put this back the right way. So you tell me now, if you want to make this water tower go to here, which direction do you swim?
North.
Yep. So you swim north, and the tree ends up over the tower. Correct. That's good. You grab that. That's perfect. That's exactly what you want. All right. Okay. So the best way to do it is if you can get two nice. Where's my water tower here? You get two nice sharp marks. So this might be a little bit offset. That's okay. If you notice, like, oh, it looks like, you know, in my vision, it looks like it's a centimetre apart when I'm looking at the sea. And then you have another sharp mark. So you put the point of your close-in headland in the saddle of the hill. The saddle of the hill is never going to change. The things on the hill might change, but that saddle is going to stay the same. Or maybe the headland's just starting to go up the slope. Okay. So when you've got two marks, you can be very good. So this one is what I'd call a combined mark. So say there's nothing down here, it's too cloudy, whatever. So this one is a combined in-out and north-south. So you've swum out to this point. So you guys go out, it's going like that. So you swum back in and you put that there. That's a combined mark because it gives you your in-out, because the radio tower is literally sitting right on top of the thing. And it's got your north-south as well, because it's not that way or that way, it's there. So that's a combined mark. Often you won't get a combined mark or a sharp combined mark.
Okay.
And then you'll be taking a back mark, you know, a back mark and a side mark. And that's ideal. Now the very important thing to do as soon as you come in from your swim is you get out your little pen and paper and you draw this little diagram. So you draw the hill with the water tower and the thing here, and then you'll draw your saddle of the other hill and your headland there. So just a very rough diagram of two pictures, and you write down what it is. The cave, the dew reef, the mackerel spot, where I got this pearly, whatever it is, okay? You write that down and then you keep them, because what happens is you'll go and travel somewhere else and think, I'll always remember that mark. I always know about this one, but you won't. Especially as you get older. And then you come back to a place and go, oh, I think it was like, you know, but if you've got the diagram, perfect. Okay. What else can I tell you? So that's really the basic, you know, principles of the marks. But some of the limitations are weather. Okay, so if it's cloudy and you can't see the back hills because the cloud, you can only see the foreground, it's tough. So what you might have here, let's say there's a little boat ramp here next to the surf club, and the fishermen come in and they put two leads on here, you know, like the diamonds or whatever, those leads. So those leads will also move, and they'll move quickly. Because they're close together. Remember we talked about further apart, they move slowly. Close together, they move quickly. So the leads, they might be, to come in, obviously when you come in on leads, it's like lead, right? They're right above each other. That's how they design it for the fishermen. And they design it so if the top lead is that way, which way do you have to go if you want to bring it back onto the bottom one?
You're north?
You swim in the direction of it, So if the top lead is to the south of where you're coming in, like when you're coming into the boat, and you see that the top lead is to the south of where you need to be, you go north. If it's to the north, you go south. You always travel the top mark in the direction you're going. That's the really key thing, because when you're diving and you're like, well, I'm not a million dives and my brain isn't working, you know, like from no oxygen, always got to remember that. Move the top mark in the direction of your swim. So these leads will swing around quite quickly. So you might be only, say you're only 150 metres out here, or 200 metres. That's when these leads are really good, or when the weather's bad. So they won't help you in every situation, but they're good for really tight marks on close-in spots, because they move so relatively quickly. So that if you move 10 metres, the leads will split quite dramatically. You move 10 metres and the leads will split. So 5 metres, puts those leads right on top. So you literally, this area of the room that we're in here, one of my marks, I can get on that no matter how dirty it is, because of those super close-in marks. So it's all horses for courses. If you're out 7 or 8 miles fishing out to sea, you're using big marks. Like hill, this foreground hill, that background hill. You can't even see the houses and things like that. That's how everyone used to go fishing before GPSs. Okay. Another limitation is the time of the day. So early in the morning, the sun is behind you and it's lighting all this stuff up. So it's quite easy to see the leads. But you might want to go out for an afternoon dive, for a Spanish or whatever. Then the sun is glaring on all of this, you know, the sun is glaring into your eyes because the sun goes down on the east. Well, this is all about east coast of Australia, not west coast. But yeah, the sun is going down that way. So, does that all make sense?
Some of it's going to need locked in a bit better than others, but...
Yeah. That's all right. We can make some, I've got some notes here that you can write down to take away with you. Literally all of that stuff, so everything we've talked about is in basically single page, you know. Oh yeah, here's another great tip. So we're using a GoPro right now. You wear a GoPro on your head. Take GoPro footage of your marks, you know, deliberately sit still on the surface and look at that mark, and then look at that mark and hold it still, and turn it off, and do it as a short clip so you can find it in all your other clips. Make sure your camera's lined up right on your head. When you get home, you can get on your editing program, zoom it in on those marks, because the GoPro will make it look massive. You'll see these tiny little things. Okay, so zoom it out, and then use arrows like water tower, radio tower, split like this, zoomed in, you know, in out mark, right? And then back mark, you know, for your side mark. Do it like that, and then you've got a record of it. Then you can come back and you can look at the video. So it's a good way to augment your diagram. Diagram's great. Video, it tells you exactly how it is. So that's a good way to go. And there's a difference between swimming marks and boating marks. So because, especially if you're using tight marks on the beach, if you take them out of the boat, you're standing up that much higher in the boat than you are when your head's at surface level, and it will change your mark. So for rock hopping, it'll always be the same. But if you go out in the boat, you'll be looking at the mark and I'm sure that's the line, but that little bit of distance up, you might be 8-9 foot above the water, your head 8-9 foot above the water, or 10 foot, depending on your boat, will change your perspective of the marks. So keep that in mind. So when you jump in the water, it always looks a little bit different. Other things that can really affect you is like swell. When there's giant swell and you're trying to look and grab that mark, and you're also going up and down, maybe 2 or 3 meters if you're on a really massive day, you know, and you know, you're sort of trying to take the average between them, you know. So there you go. So that's our theory. Now we're going to go out on the oval and do some practical.
The tops of those poles are.
All right. So yeah, what we were just talking about before. What's the first thing to look out for when you're trying to get marks? Artificial structures. That's it. So they're going to be much sharper. So as we're wandering around, you see a few things moving. Anything grabbing your eyes?
The solar panels on roofs.
Solar panels. Okay. So we're looking at solar panels over here. There's a nice, beautiful, straight light pole. And we're moving at a reasonable pace past the solar panels. Okay. So if we want to make that post come up onto the solar panels, what would you do?
Wait, top of the telegram pole on top of the solar panels?
You walk
closer towards it?
So we walk closer towards it. So what's happening now? Tell me what's happening with the mark. The pole's coming up the panel.
Yeah.
So there's your in-out mark. Alright. So now where are we? We're right at the top of the pole, from my perspective.
Yeah.
You're a little bit shorter than me, but right at the top of the pole, we're right on the top of the solar panels.
Yeah.
Now if we turn back this way and we go right out, keep looking back as you're going. So that's a pretty good mark.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good in-out mark. And a north-south mark. So this is going to make a reasonably good combined mark. Right. So now look back now. Now where's the pole now relative to the
bottom
side?
of the roof. Maybe
On the gutter.
Yeah, on the gutter of the roof.
So the gutter's sitting on top of the pole.
Yeah.
And it's on the third, right in the middle of the solar panels, where it goes 3 on each side. So that's a great combined mark.
Yeah.
So let's move in a little tiny bit. Is that gutter sitting right on the top of the pole for you now?
No, it's like a tiny bit higher.
You can go back.
Yeah, that's on it there.
Is it right in the middle of the solar panels, as in 3 doubles on that side, a double and 2 singles on that side?
Double and 2 singles, moving to the right to that. 2 on the left, and 2 on the right. Singles.
We've got 2 there and 4 that way.
Yeah.
And come this way. You look at that line.
Yeah.
Right, so there's 3 doubles on that side, double and 2 singles on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll put a cowrie here. And we'll go wandering around. You remember that mark? You remember it?
Remember it.
Remember it.
Yeah. Stuck in the van.
Gotta find it later on. Or he'll owe me a cowrie shell. Alright, we'll have a look around some more. Alright. Let's try something a little bit more distant. I'll make a suggestion. Got the crossbarred telegraph pole.
Yep.
The house to the left with the sloped roof.
Yep.
Okay, behind, that's quite a bit further behind it. So as we walk this way, it's taking a little bit more time to get on. That tree's going to block it out.
Yeah.
So we'll scrap that one. We'll look for ones that we can actually find. So where else will we look back? Okay, let's do some more distant ones on this line. Okay.
Okay.
So this is like, so you've been swimming out off the beach. This is your quite far to the south marks that you're looking for to line up with your cross marks.
Okay.
Okay. So
We could water tank, which we have up there, and
the water tank is a great one. Yeah.
yeah, we can align that with one of the light posts.
One of the light
Or
posts.
another house.
Yep. Yeah. Let's try to get a combined mark. So let's swim back to your first mark.
Yep.
Just walk back and find it on the. Don't look down at the ground. Look at your mark and we'll see how close you get to it.
Right there's where the mark is.
So you're that far off. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That was a G cave there, so we'll leave that there. So keep that mark in mind.
Yeah.
So let's take another back mark. Yeah. This angle. What's a good sharp in out mark? So this one, because we're looking to the south, this is very good for going in and out to the shore.
okay.
Not so much, we're not looking for a combined mark. So we're going to take that as one mark. That's just our, distance this way. And we're going to look for something, what lines up well artificially up there.
Holes in the house.
Yeah, but which house, which is the sharpest?
I reckon the white pole with the 2 posts and then the behind that.
Yeah, but that doesn't line up with something specific at the moment, does it? Try and find one that you think lines up exactly where it would be.
It's very distant. The white pole on the left side for that brown window.
Yep, perfect. Yeah. Only trouble with that is that tree is going to obscure your view when you come this way.
Yeah.
Okay, so try to pick that. It is right what you say, but try to pick one that's a little bit easier.
The water tower and the blue house.
That's the one. So no, not the water tower. See this light pole?
Yeah.
And that garage? That water tower is exactly on the peak bit of the roof. See the roof is like this?
Yeah.
Come down the pole, it's exactly like that. So if you go like this, it's off. If you go like that, it's off the centre. So it's very close.
Yeah.
So there we go. All right, get it there. Right, Corbin's going to take us back to the mark. You lead on. I'm swimming after you. I've got no idea where we are. I hope you can remember it. But talk us through what you're doing, Corbin. What are you thinking about when you're looking?
We put our telegram pole, which is sitting across there. Line up the hole with the solar panels in the order.
Do we need to go into the beach or out?
We need to go into the beach.
Alright, let's go into the beach. Now where do we need to go?
We need to head.
Keep going in or keep out? Or
Keep going in.
keep going in?
Yeah. Now we need to head down the beach.
Down the beach?
Yeah.
Rightio. So we're heading south. What are you looking for when you're heading south?
You're looking for the pole to line up.
What about your other mark?
You're looking for the water
Now
tower.
how are we going on that one? Because when you're swimming south, think about it. Yeah, you could be looking at that. But you're swimming straight ahead here. This is the mark that's going to pull you up a little bit easier. You know what I mean? So you're swimming like that, you look up.
Yeah.
Not like this all the time. That's a bit harder. If you get, I mean, you do have to look at it, but this is the mark. So take us back on that mark.
Yeah. So we did use the white. Was it the White House we were using?
Ooh,
No, it was.
can't you remember?
No, I didn't know which one. It was either the.
What was the
blue-
shape of it? What was the shape of the house?
It was slanted.
Okay, so which one up there looks like that?
More slanted, the blue one.
Okay, so let's go and have a walk onto that one then. You lead, I'm just following you, I don't know where we are. Okay. Now where do we need to go? Check the other mark out.
We need to other mark.
So what do we have to do to get back on that other mark?
We have to head more down.
Okay, so let's go that way. How are we going?
We have to walk further back.
You need to come out a bit?
Yeah.
Need to come out a bit. How are we looking at that other mark?
That's centered now there.
So how close do you reckon we are? Reckon we're on? Are we on? So that's how close you can get from relatively close marks. We're a foot away.
Yeah. Very close.
So that's a good practical way of doing it. So we'll leave that one there. We'll forget about that. We'll go and have a wander around a bit more and have a look for some more marks. All right, now we're going to have a look. So here's the surf club here, and we're going to make the mountains come up, which are actually trees, but we're going to pretend these trees are mountains. So here we are. We jumped in off the beach, we're swimming, 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 and you know that the reef is where you first start to see the mountain. So you keep checking that with your shoulder. Tell me when we get to the reef.
Just starting to come over on
Just
the
starting?
right side.
Get them right over, like the whole over. Now we're looking. There we go. So that's a fuzzy mark.
Yeah.
All right. So that's quite indistinct. We don't have any specific thing lined up other than the poles pretty much lined up against the edge of those trees. But it's quite fuzzy. But it's a rough idea.
Yeah.
So it's a big bit of reef. We just want to get to the reef. So we don't want to be over there. And we don't want to be down there. We just want to be roughly out here. So there we are. We've got a nice fuzzy mark. Back to your dew hole.
We got the pole there, which we have to line up with the solar panel. So let's take in.
Make it as efficient as possible.
So we just hit the axle.
Yeah.
We try and get the best at the same time.
Because you don't want to spend in the sea. You don't want to be going around it, doing one line and then another line and then one line. You want to try to swim to the combination. So what else should you be doing when you're looking at that?
Checking the other mark as well.
Yeah, how's that going?
That's, we haven't come out yet.
30 seconds.
Blue house has come out. And you can tell this way it's empty. It's empty there.
So that's a good lesson. You're swimming on a line now, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're swimming on a line on the back mark. What do you need to do? Reckon you're there?
I think I'm on, yeah.
Can't see this cowrie.
Yeah, I can see it.
There you go.
There you go.
You're pretty close.
Yeah.
We're wandering around. So what are we, a metre out? I'll give you that. Should be able to recognise a dew hole when you dive down from that.
Yeah, alright.
Here we are running Corbin through a few of the finer points of rock hopping. Good or bad to jump in here?
Not good jumping
Not
here.
good, no, not good, not good. So that's where we normally jump in, up that far end. On that point if we can, because the reefs are closer up there. Now we're looking at this. Might get wet in a second. Now look at this one sucking up. And look at the colour of the water as well, so it's so deceptive. Even have a look at the colour changes that's coming around from the river. You know, because as you get a little bit more depth. So unfortunately, you can do the crying impersonation now. Yeah, no diving. Corbin, this is a nice safe entry point. You can see there's not too much white water. You can see just a little bit of rock and then it's all sand behind it. So you wait for a lull, you get all your gear on, standing somewhere in here, you wait for a lull, let the water fill up in the gutter, and then you go with it as it flushes out and you sprint out through there, and you get the goal is to get behind that break, so then you can turn the corner and get out around the headland. So really, even in massive seas, you can get out here, and then as far as you're going to be going to the north, so you have to really well clear the headland before you can decide to come back in.